We're excited today that in studio, former Baylor Offensive Lineman Khalil Keith joins us. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, and David Smoke. And Khalil in studio with us today to kind of just talk about right now life in general and the future. And what are your plans right now, Khalil? What's kind of on the table for you right now?
Right now, as far as on the table, is just pro day and just killing that and performing the best I can and showing my athleticism and what I got to bring.
Khalil, you didn't get to play in the first part of the year.
Right.
How much do you think that you've had to maybe like overcome that when it comes to the scouts having a little less film on you, at least from this year, moving forward?
I had to overcome it a lot just based off missing 6 games. That's a lot of film to miss out on, and scouts just seeing that and just knowing I was injured, it could probably just give me a few minuses, but hopefully I made up for it in the latter hand.
Can you take us through the draft process itself, just the frustrations of that, the fun times of that, just what's it been like? What's kind of your day-to-day and sort of weaving in and out through this obviously major process in life?
Day-to-day, it was first couple months was just working out, speed in the morning, strength in the evening, make sure you stay on top of all your meals and keeping my body in the best physical shape to perform, and just interviews, just doing different little things that programs may have asked me, going to like the Senior Bowl and filling that out and doing all that stuff.
When you, obviously with you being a part of being an NFL prospect, those who take over your life, basically, agent, trainer, whatever, what are some of the things they tell you? Do they take your phone away? Do they tell you you can't look at it between like 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night? Because I've had some guys tell me that they are on their time now.
My agents, I guess, are not that strict, but they make sure I'm on top of anything that I post or anything that I do. Because at this point, you're under a small light because scouts are looking for anything to take you off. So just making sure I'm doing and posting like the right stuff. And
you mentioned meals. How much change in your meals compared to when you were playing at Baylor to what you're doing to get ready for your pro day?
Oh yeah, it's way more strict than now. Just make sure you eat your greens. Make sure you certain you can't eat as much as I wanted to. I can probably go to Whataburger or something during the week at school, but yeah, that wouldn't be beneficial for me at this point right now.
Do you you've played guard and you've played tackle. Do you project more as a guard or a tackle in the league? What have they told you?
I've heard a little bit of both. They said I can definitely play with tackle with my size and my athletic ability, and they see me as a guard too. Just my first get off and my power that I play with. So I've heard they like me at either or.
So you played in a zone blocking scheme the last couple of years.
Right.
So you know that really well. There are a lot of teams that are kind of going that way.
Right.
When you do meet with scouts or you've talked to people, do you kind of mention that, like, look, you guys run that zone offense. I know it. I already know it. Yeah, I just need to learn what you call it as opposed to what we call it.
I've been in a situation where I have to go over certain plays, and I've seen that type of play before, so it's helped me out. But I haven't really mentioned, like, I know what style y'all run, and I'm probably be the best fit, but I'm pretty sure they know.
Khalil, you had a lot of changeover with the coaching staff during your time in Waco. Just how did that kind of help mold you? And in particular, these last couple of years with Eric Mateos, just what was some of the wisdom that he passed along? What were some of the things that you'll take away from your time with him?
So, yeah, I've had a few different offensive line coaches over the years.
You did.
Yeah, you get a mix of personalities. You get the old school, tough O-line coach that just up your butt, I guess. But Coach Mateos, he's been a great guy, just teaching on the field and off the field, just different stuff. I've learned so much, just my game from 2 years ago to now just elevated for sure.
How much did that success that you guys had a couple years ago, because when the struggles were going on, George DeLeon, rest in peace, and then Sean Bell had to take over for a little while, and the O-line was kind of under that microscope of it was hard, right? It was. How much was that success that you guys it ultimately had? How good did that feel? What kind of an accomplishment was that?
It was great. I would say over that time period, we was looked at probably as the softest group, I guess, on the team, or just not the best group that needed improvement, but pulling that Big 12 championship off, it was great just to be able to, you know, at least start. It started with Coach Aranda saying it starts up front, and that definitely pushed us into winning that Big 12 championship.
Gary, go ahead and come back to the three-shot with us, and we'll try to. We lost the camera shot with Khalil. We'll try to get that back. We'll just have your audio for just a few minutes unless we get that reconnected.
Okay.
So did you mention that we were probably the most selfish group?
Softest
Group.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, so how do you, is that off? So if in fact you get that edge, is it during the off season when you get that edge, and how?
It's usually through the weight room and just through by bonding with each other and just making a pact to change that, I guess.
You guys, of any position on the team, though, like through that COVID year, you guys really took it on the chin. Oh, yeah. I mean, really, really did. And but did that make you stronger on the other side of it? Because you had a lot to prove for the next couple of years.
Yeah, that COVID year was probably definitely one of the low times, just playing offensive line. But it definitely gave us, like, the edge because it was the same guys basically, regardless of a few. It definitely gave us that edge to, like, yeah, we got to get it together for sure.
Was dealing with success difficult last year, you think, for this team? It seems like there was a little bit of that edge lost because you were in a different situation where now you'd had that success that you were working towards. Did you feel that at all with this roster last year, that there was a little bit of that because of the success you guys had, not as much of a ferocity there?
I would say so, just a little bit, just because of the young guys coming in. They might have thought, oh, we've won the Big 12 championship, we're about to do this again, or it won't be, you know, we did this before, it won't be as hard, even though that's not true. It's probably harder to accomplish that back-to-back, but definitely for sure.
What was the difference between obviously a lot of players left too. Some of them are in the NFL right now, like you hope to be here in a matter of a couple of months in the draft in April. But was there something missing? Was there something missing, or just the lot of guys left and they just didn't have the quite right people to take their place?
I would say just based off the guys we had, I feel like we was pretty suitable to win. But I feel like we was missing certain parts on both sides just to be a complete team.
How much did you miss guys like even on the defensive end? You were on the offensive line, but with the Jalen Petries and guys that had been around a long, long time.
Right. So Jalen Petrie, Terrell Bernard, they were great leaders on defense and really the whole team. And, you know, they've been around five years. So, like, the standard was been set, and just following those guys made it easier. It's just what they brought every single day was top-notch for sure.
You've been here a long time too, though, Khalil.
Yeah.
You've been here a long time. What's it going to feel like to be somewhere else? Have you thought about that?
I'm ready to get out of Waco, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's time, right?
Yeah, it's definitely time. But I'm ready for the new experience wherever I go, just the new city or, you know, the new environment, just to give me a different type of edge to compete and flourish.
Khalil Keith, former Baylor offensive lineman, with us on 365 Sports and also in studio. So your pro day, that's just around the corner. Right. What have you been told what to expect? And does it mean so much that you have to make sure it doesn't mean too much and that you perform, you know, as if you're relaxed and normal?
Yes, sir. So, the ground has been set. The floor has been set just with training, so I don't expect to get any better. But I've heard they try to see how tired they can get you and really try to work you out, especially in position drill. So I prepare myself with conditioning and my training, so I hopefully be prepared for whatever they throw at me.
Are you also going through what we look at, the training, the physical and all that? People see the film don't lie, all that. Mm-hmm. But what about the mental part of this? Or what are some questions that are you being prepared to have to answer from people who are around your group?
The mental aspect is good. I mean, it's like the most thing I feel like they look for in a player, just because it's not about what you can do on the field most of the time, but like who you are as a person, and showing the scouts that I'm even, as Coach Ronda said, good player, but even better person. So I try to show that to the scouts with anything they may bring across my table.
Coach Aranda said you're a good player, but a better person.
Right.
What does that mean?
It's just you're not the number. You're individual, and that's what matters most is when people look at you. You don't want to be known as a number, just, you know, who you are, your personality, your character.
How did you, like, over the couple years of playing for him, like, he and Coach Rule are such starkly different personalities, and not in a bad way. I mean, they're both really positive people, but they're very different. Like, how did you adjust to that? Because changing coaches is such a weird thing to do.
Oh, yeah, it's night and day, honestly, personality. It's like just from going from Coach Rule, he's a very uptight guy, to Coach Aranda, just relax. He may not scream but 1 or 2 times in practice, but it was a good change. I like both coaches, and Coach Aranda definitely brought a different aspect.
Did Coach Aranda ever get on you about it? You have any example of when he you knew he was focused on maybe getting on to you?
Just at the beginnings of practice, he may try to get me juiced up and just try to push me. Just, you could definitely tell he's trying to get the energy going at the beginning of practice.
When he does scream, though, you said like maybe a couple times, how many of those screams are him just yelling to somebody who's further away, not actually yelling at somebody, just like, hey, just trying to get their attention as opposed to like mad?
He's usually yelling full speed. He wants everybody to go full speed at all times, so he's using yelling.
So it's not even directed at a person. No. It's just general.
Right.
He mentioned that he was maybe too lenient last year. Mm-hmm. Did you ever see that as a player on the team, and people taking advantage of that?
I feel like he's just an overall nice guy. I mean, you can't really make him mad, or I've never really seen him just pissed off, I guess. And he's just that type of person where he may not show it in the moment, but he may come back and talk to you later or something like that.
What are your expectations when they get to the draft? The pro day, and others will want to see and talk to you a little bit. What are your true expectations when the draft is over?
When the draft is over, hopefully I'm on a good team that loves and cares about me, and for myself, I'm just preparing and staying strong and just hopefully going in there to take a spot, you know.
Mm-hmm. What is your agent or others around you telling you about where you stand right now among those at your position?
Right now, I'm around priority free agency right now. So hopefully, with my pro day stats, I can bump that up a little bit.
Do you feel like that might even be if, in fact, you're not drafted? Because that's a reality.
Right.
We've seen players that just aren't drafted, but then have a fantastic NFL career. Some have made the Hall of Fame. Do you feel like if it gets towards the end of the draft, it might be better for you to be able to place yourself where it is better for you in particular?
Yes, sir. That's what I've heard. Just based on contract negotiations, things along that lines, it's better to, go free agency just to you get to choose basically where you go.
It was like Abram Smith when he didn't get drafted. Get to New Orleans, got a nice deal.
Right.
And kind of on that topic, do you have interest if, let's say, the NFL thing, and Lord willing it does, and you get that opportunity, and I assume that you will, but if that doesn't go the way you expect it to initially, are you interested in the XFL? Are you interested in those types of leagues?
Oh, yes, sir, for sure. I mean, I love football, so I'm willing to do anything to get back on that field at this point.
When you're not thinking about getting ready and getting focused on the pro day and et cetera, what does Khalil Keith like to do?
I'm usually on YouTube looking at fishing videos, anything like outdoors.
Well, this is a great place to fish, but from where you're from, I mean, you knew where all the holes and stuff were, right?
I actually just this year I told myself I'm gonna teach myself how to fish. So
okay.
I just started fishing, so that's what I've been doing really about every day, going to different ponds around here.
Seems like it's caught on, huh? I mean, you seem to enjoy it now that you've got it.
I do.
Yeah,
it's very relaxing.
Yeah, it is very relaxing.
You have to have patience, man. You have to have a lot of patience because there could be click, tock, tick, tock. There's nothing on that line, right?
Yeah, I mean, the hardest part for me was just learning the different reels. I was trying to bait caster. It was terrible. I had to return it that day. I was not ready for that type of reel. So
no, you gotta build up. I grew up fishing. My dad it was his favorite thing to do. He said he never had a bad day fishing. And there were some days where we were in some weather. It was awful. And I'd be like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, no, I'm fishing. So it is one of those things. It really helps you, especially be with your thoughts and kind of just go out there and hopefully you get something. If you don't, you don't. So you're mostly, do you want to like start okay, you're learning, you're teaching yourself how to fish. Do you want to start like going like maybe deep sea fishing or other kind of fishing, or are you kind of focused on one thing?
Yes, sir. That's the plan. Hopefully, because I always wanted like I've been watching the tuna videos, the guys catching tunas and all type of stuff. I would love to do that and experience, having one of those big fish on that line.
You know the biggest catch and all that kind of yeah, I love those shows.
You know who who did introduce Khalil to, especially after he gets drafted, and he can like
Jay Ellis,
but Brian Bauer.
Yeah, no.
Brian loves to fish, and he owns a meat market, so that's a win-win.
Yeah.
Double whammy.
Yeah, for sure.
So you watch those shows where they're on those big boats out there getting like salmon, not salmon, but tuna and that. Okay.
Yes, sir, for sure.
Well, you got the strength to pull one of those in. You won't even just like grab that is an exhilarating. Is there anything more exhilarating with a hobby than that jab when you know there's something on the other end?
Nah,
first time that happened to you, what was that like?
That feeling I've been chasing every time I go out there. That's one of the top feelings, having one of them fish on the line, not even knowing what it is, just that thing fighting you and that feeling when that double tap.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's incredible. How many of you accidentally let off the hook and you didn't bring them in? Any?
A lot.
Yeah, you get that double bam, and then all of a sudden you can't get it in the boat.
Right.
Oh, man, it's great to have you. We appreciate everything you're doing. So the schedule up until Pro Day, what are you doing? Like, for example, are you up at 6? Or what is your daily routine?
So I get up and I cook my breakfast. Then I go out into the field, and I'm just going over the certain drills, 40 L cone, and shuttle, and doing different broad jumps and just keeping my body fresh, and it's really like a deload week for me. So I'm just going over my stretch plans and stuff like that.
How much have you improved some of those drills that you know you're going to see?
Oh, yeah, my numbers have definitely improved thanks to my trainers. And from the first week I got there, and I'm looking pretty good with my numbers. I'm liking them.
Great to have you in studio, man. We really appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Khalil Keith, former Baylor offensive lineman from Alabama, with us in studio on 365 Sports. PettyClinicLowT.com.